Saying I wanted to grow up as a kid was probably one of the dumbest things I used to say. As time has gone by and as I reflect a bit about my childhood, there are definitely things that I do miss about it. And in this video, just want to ramble on about a few things that feels different and that I do miss and that I definitely took that time for granted. So the first one I want to talk about is the freedom. Now, when I say freedom, it's obviously a huge difference from being a kid and an adult. And it's kind of funny because when I was a kid in school, I've always hated homework, and I would always look at adults that, have jobs, and I would think, oh, wow, it must be nice not to have homework. Now that I'm an adult with a job, I realize that you do technically have homework, and homework is pretty much life, dealing with life, bills, rent, mortgage, car maintenance, grocery shopping, doing all those types of things. You don't realize that as a kid. And until you get, become an adult, that's when you realize it's like you kind of still do have homework. It's just a lot more demanding on you. So it's kind of funny, but no, I mean the freedom you have as a kid is you could just wake up in the morning, you go to school, you come home, and you could just play, Xbox or Call of Duty, whatever you wanted to do from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. Whenever you get home from school, whatever you like to do, you could do that, and you didn't have to really worry about responsibilities. And that's what freedom, responsibilities kind of tie in together, as you don't really have responsibilities as a kid. It's just, like I said, the only thing you really have to do as a kid is go to school, and it sucks, but compared to being an adult, it's you have a lot more responsibilities. And like I said, you have a lot more freedom in the sense of responsibilities, because technically as an adult, you have freedom in other ways, such as, I can just go wherever I want as long as you have a license and a car, of course, right? But you have the ability to just drive. If you want to go get McDonald's at, 11 p.m., you can do that, right? As a kid, you probably wouldn't be able to do that, right? Your dad would tell you no, and that's just part of the thing. If you need to go to the store, you can do that. In terms of that regard, you have more freedom. But I think it's more of responsibilities, and you have more freedom because of the lack of responsibilities that you have as a kid. So that kind of brings me to my next point, is time. With no responsibilities, you have a lot more time. And it's weird because when you're a kid, time feels like it goes by so slowly. And as you're an adult, time feels like it just flies by. Like, there's like certain moments or certain things like in my life when I was a kid that it felt like it lasted an eternity, but I look and it was like, oh wow, it was only like a month, and it's so weird. And I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but like now it's like the days feel like months. They go by so quick. And when you were a kid, it was the opposite. And it's weird because when you're a kid, you have so much more time, it feels. But when you're an adult, you have no time. And I guess that's why the time, I don't know if it's called like a barrier that you want to call it, but it's just your view of time shifts completely when you become an adult. And it's really weird. And I like I said, like I look back at my childhood and I wish I had that much time now as an adult. And definitely something we took for granted for sure was the amount of time we had. And that kind of goes into friendships. The extra time that you have, you have much more time to be with your friends. You're not tied down to a job or responsibilities. And it's like, I wish I would have spent more time with my friends growing up. I would go through phases where I would hang out with them every day, but then there would be spurts where I would just not see them for weeks or even months. And it's just, I don't know why, I don't even remember for what reasons, but I don't know if that makes sense. But it's, I really do wish, because I feel now as an adult, and it might just be me, I don't know, that I don't have the level of friendships. Like, yeah, I have, I guess, quote unquote friends, but I don't feel as connected to them as when I was a kid, and as I felt connected with friends when I was a kid. And like I said, that might just be me. I don't know if I'm just weird. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was easier to just connect with people when you're kids, and there's more stuff you guys can do. You can just, go outside, and I used to play basketball and football a lot with my friends, in like the neighborhood. And I had, cousins and friends. We would play Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, I think it was called. It was a big card game. And then, of course, we would play video games. When I was a kid, it was, big Call of Duty games, MW2, Black Ops 1, MW3, Black Ops 2. But yeah, I mean, it's something that kind of really miss, and I didn't really realize it until, like I said, as you get older, and it's like, man, I wish I could have more of that time back to hang out with friends. But it's just, time just gets away from you, and like I said, I just feel like it's harder to connect with people, like when you're an adult. And I don't know, when it was a kid, it just felt like friends were just easier to come by. And yeah, like I said, that could just be me, but yeah. And I guess the last thing I would like to talk about, discuss, is time with your family. Now, as I've gone through life, I've lost. I'm still grateful and thankful that I still have 3 of my grandparents left. But a little over a year ago, that I did lose my grandfather, and that was probably like the first person that I was like really close to that I lost, and that really just, it hurts a lot. And it, realizing that, me personally, my grandfather lived down the street from me. My grandmother, both of them lived down the street from me. So I look back on it, and I can definitely say that I used the most of my time while he was still here, and I spent a lot of time over there. And I'm very thankful and glad that I did that. But of course, I still look back on it, and I still wish I could have was there more when I was a kid, because you don't really think of that when you're a kid. You don't really, you're not thinking about death, and that, that time is limited, and that, one day you're not going to be able to see your grandparents, and then eventually even your parents. And it's kind of sad. And, again, like, your perception of time when you're a kid is just so different when you're an adult. And I just definitely wish I spent more time with my grandparents as a kid. I still feel like that I spent plenty, like I said, it was a lot easier for me to spend time with them, especially my mom's grandparents, because they would actually watch me and my sister after my parents got divorced a lot after school, because my mom was working 3 jobs, so she was never home. So after school, we would go to my grandparents' house, and we would stay there. So, I look back at those times, and it's like, I wish I cherished those moments more with my grandparents. And that's what I try to do now, cherish moments with my mom and dad. And it's also tougher now too, because I don't have as much time to see them. When you're a kid, I mean, I live with my mom, and you see them pretty much every day. And now I live with my fiance and my daughter now. But so luckily they still live. I live pretty close to my mom and dad. They live pretty close to me in terms of town wise. They're like 2 towns over. So it's definitely nice that I can see them, and I try to see them as much as possible. Try to, like I said, cherish your moments with your loved ones, because time is very valuable. And I think that's pretty much the main point of this video. Is I think the biggest shift in change, at least for me, is your sense of time when you're a kid compared to when you're an adult. You just view time very differently. When you're a kid, you want time to just speed up, but when you're an adult, you kind of want time to slow down. So, like I said, this is my opinion, my outlook on it. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm the only one that feels like this. So definitely let me know in the comments down below how you feel about it, how you feel about childhood, time, adulting, all those things. So appreciate you guys watching as always, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.